But then the question I often get is, well, there's a recession, and maybe there's a recession coming. And I know there's some debate about that. In IDC, we've been measuring this since the beginning of the year. And, at this point, from our most recent survey in the summer, certainly said, looks like a recession coming this year. Some disagreement, a little bit based on where you live, about how, deep that recession is going to be. And, if we go back to 2018, or even before that, the 2008 financial crisis, recessions were very, very concerning. If you sat in IT, your project might be put on hold. Sometimes there were just across the board budget cuts. And so then we asked people, well, what impact, if there is a recession, do you think it's going to have on your IT budgets? And what we see is, while people say, yeah, there may be some changes, we have about half that said it would not impact their IT budget in a negative way. And this is really different than before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, across the board cuts, which is the dark purple 14% you see in the right corner on the left of the screen, the pie chart there, that was kind of a de facto norm. But along comes the pandemic, and the need to be digital and to work digital proved its business case. It kept businesses going. It kept more businesses afloat. And there's no looking back. So while, we do have a fairly large percentage that there would be reductions in specific IT budget items, we're not dealing with the overall cut 5% or 10% of the IT budget straight off the top that we were doing before, because the role of IT is very different versus 5 years ago. And the importance of the business understanding of the importance of technology is far different than it was 5 years ago. So I think that's really good. And in fact, we ask CEOs, what role do you play in driving your digital strategy? And I'm sure a lot of the IT leaders in the virtual room here would say, oh, well, if I think in 2018, I wanted them to pay more attention. I was telling them how important this was. You look now and you have over half taking at least a medium to high role. This is CEOs in the digital strategy for the organization. And you have about a third saying that they are personally involved highly involved in this. And that's really different. So clearly organizations have seen the light. The problem now is, okay, we've got CEO involvement. CEOs are invested, and that's good. But now they need to kind of understand how to take all of this IT capability and measure the success of it, because that will tie to the business outcomes they're looking for. And so we need a different way we need to be thinking differently about KPIs and metrics. So what I'm showing you on the left-hand side of the screen, the light blue bars is 2022 and the darker blue is 2021. And, we see overall a huge use of how many business KPIs are being tied back to software initiatives, including automation initiatives and integration. And all of those, really go up, especially things like development team execution and software performance. But one of the most interesting ones for me is the bottom one, the thing that goes down. And that's the option we gave that said, does senior management look at software KPIs? And the answer used to be not really, but now you have about 1% of senior management that says, I don't look at software KPIs, which clearly tells us that they are looking for ways to measure success and what's happening in their technology initiatives and tie that to business outcomes. But when we look on the right, we see that the organization, both IT leaders and line of business leaders, are struggling to make that connection between those software initiative KPIs and the financial outcomes they're looking to achieve.